in the past, the NATO Atlanticists, the liberals, would at least make it seem as though Europe had some kind of sovereignty. He's just giving the game away. He's saying, no, you don't actually have sovereignty. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Trump just uploaded this to his Truth Social. 2 AI-generated pictures remapping Greenland and Canada. This is Asmongold's subreddit. Okay. For those of you who are just tuning in, you might not know this, but Asmongold is the #1 MAGA writer on this platform. And as the #1 MAGA writer, he has to write everything that Donald Trump says and does. But unfortunately, Asmongold has a problem. And the problem is he is audience captured. He is tremendously audience captured. And his audience happens to be majority European MAGA supporters. But for the first time since Trump became president, the majority European MAGA writers are very frustrated. They're very frustrated with what the Trump administration is doing, especially as it pertains to denying sovereignty to the European continent. What the f is happening, man? My internet keeps going in and out today. Yeah, mini F, micro F, but it's fine. We're still here. It's still going on. But as I was saying, now he's got two competing issues here. One, he has to eat Trump's. Two, he has to eat his audience's. And because his audience is primarily European Trump supporters, because his audience is primarily European Trump supporters, he has to play this delicate tightrope for the first time ever, where he can't just talk about how awesome it is that Trump is taking over Greenland. They all loved it when Trump did this to Venezuela, but they all hate it when Trump is doing this to a European ally, right? Forget war. It's Tuesday and this afternoon, I have my third meeting this week with EU blue chip companies, specifically to look at their current exposure to U.S. tech services like Azure and AWS, to discuss how they can plan to move from these services to non-U.S. based solutions, not discounting a move from cloud back onto on-premise solutions. This would be billions of dollars annually removed from U.S. companies if just those three. What the man? What is happening with the internet? Are we still here? Can you guys still see me? Am I still effing? Okay, you can still see me. All right, good. Cloud back on the prem is becoming more and more a common conversation. You're not alone. Godspeed, man. We're also moving from U.S. cloud to alternatives. For the love of God, sovereign cloud solutions from Google, Microsoft, or Amazon are a scam. Don't even suggest that. Why is he so R-worded? For real. He keeps shooting himself on the foot with the stupid shit he says and does. He could have the whole world sucking up to him, yet he chooses to act like a spastic. I am starting to root for an impeachment. He's becoming unbearable and keeps damaging the anti-woke culture. He keeps damaging the anti-woke culture like the anti-woke culture is a real thing. He's a megalomaniac, Nebba baby, and wants a new state added to the union named after himself, Trumpanada. Now, it's interesting because his community is supposed to be super pro-Trump, and all of a sudden now they're no longer super pro-Trump because for the first time ever, they're experiencing what Trump does when he wants something. The whole Greenland situation is insanely stupid, and while he may have done some good things, this will end up ruining all international relationships, and he will not get Greenland one way or another. You don't simply take over another country in this day and age, except you do if you're the United States of America. What you mean is you don't get to do that to Europe. Not realizing that this has already been done to Europe. Europe is vassalized already. This is just basically casting away all of the smoke and mirrors that make it seem as though Europe has not been firmly vassalized. Okay? Please don't say that spaz word is basically the R word, but as British slang. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought that was like a medical term or something. But in any case, my apologies. Okay. So Asman thinks so. It's easy. Just do it. It would be easy, but just because we can doesn't mean we should. We couldn't even kick the Taliban out of Afghanistan. They're fighting us with flip-flops. It would be a shit show. It really wouldn't be easy. Promise to end the war and get a Nobel Prize, bomb Iran, kidnap Maduro, threatening to conquer Canada and Greenland. Why is he like this? Never let him know your next move. No American here I don't understand why a man of his age engage on such aggressive behavior. Would he live to see the consequences of conquering so many land? He's mad for not getting the Nobel Prize. You saw Obama get one and murder tons of people. He's just probably trying to do that. Again, for these guys, the only reason why they like Trump is because Trump represents anti-woke culture. These guys have no understanding of politics. They have no understanding of policy. They have no global design. They have no vision for a better future. They're just responding in the most reactionary ways possible to what they perceive as woke culture, because television man and right-wing forces have told them woke culture is here. They're making everything homified, and we are going to make everything less gay. Okay? So they are leaning into Trump. They're leaning into the cultural forces that Trump represents because it's like an anti-woke battle, right? They can't even comprehend that this extends to, being pro-Israel as well. Weirdly enough, that's something that, maybe some of them don't even recognize, where like Trump is hyper woke when it comes to claiming things are anti-Semitic and then punishing people, right? Mahmoud Khalil was a great example of this. But I guess in that situation, the higher priority is still with like maintaining Islamophobia as an anti-woke narrative. And that's why they don't consider like Trump's fake anti-Semitism enforcement as another instance of every, we're anti-woke except for when it comes to things that we claim are anti-Semitic. As a European, I was never 100% anti-Trump. Yes, unlike many, as I've always tried to view the problematics through the eyes of an American, as Asman makes this possible. Also, looking at what the Democrats are doing in the U.S., it was no surprise Trump and Republicans won the elections. But every time Trump does something, which I can say, okay, he's got a point in this, or might have a point in this, or even if he thinks I can agree with him, he always does stupid shit like this. Right now, when it comes to Greenland, he behaves like a child. I didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. How dare you? You didn't give me the prize. So now I'm interested. Now I am not interested in peace anymore. Well, I don't really believe, or at least now, he would actually try to commit a military action. Or if he did, I hope others who have a say in this would not let him do it and refuse and impeach or whatever. Even threatening like this is insane. I like Trump. Why is Trump doing this? You are treating us like we are brown. We are not brown. Why are you treating us like we are brown, Mr. President? We love you. Ich liebe dich. Ich möchte Trump. Why are you doing this? Yeah. Get control of Minnesota first. How about that? This is embarrassing the U.S. globally. Big talks of taking over other countries. That he doesn't even control our states of the United States. Way to make sure Europe and China strengthen their bond. Yeah. As a European, I was a big Trump fan. I still think he does a lot of great things, but the foreign policy sucks. America feels bipolar and unreliable now. He's picking fights with the allies and uses tariffs as a way to punish or bully. This is the guy who rolls out the red carpets for Putin's, and treats his allies as vassals he can freely humiliate. I feel like he's setting an example for other nations that international law doesn't matter, and the larger countries can invade or bully the smaller countries as long as it is in the nation's best interest. Yeah, based, sehr good, yeah. Your president is not well. Do something about it. Everyone was in such an uproar at the Democrats allowing Biden to be unfit for so long. Yet here we are. You can cut the hypocrisy with a knife. For people who are just now figuring out that this is what Trump has been doing, because you were deluded into thinking that he is like representative of an anti-woke culture, what you also need to move beyond is this dynamic in your mind that there is like such a thing as woke culture, and it was like being mass enforced upon you by, liberal powers or whatever, and recognize that this has always been the global design. This is the global capitalist design. You do not benefit from it. And as a matter of fact, they delude you into thinking that you're actually winning something when Donald Trump wins the election over the Democrats or some shit like that, because he's anti-woke. Meanwhile, all he is doing is reinforcing American hegemony. But when you think American hegemony is good, what you fail to consider is that American hegemony just means capitalist hegemony. You think capitalism is good. You think global capitalism is a good thing. It's not. That is the real reason why you have a crippled social safety net, not because you have a bunch of refugees in your country now and it's ruining the country and it's ruining the culture or anything like that. The reason why you're frustrated is because of austerity. And austerity comes at the behest of capital owners, European capital owners that demand that European leaders are servile to the interests of the protectorate of global capital, which is the United States of America. That is the real problem here. And the faster you identify this problem, the easier things will be for you. Otherwise, you will constantly find yourself whipped up into a frenzy in a moment of panic over and over again, thinking, why is this happening? I don't understand. Trump was the great, Trump was going to bring about American prosperity. He was going to bring about European prosperity. He was actually invested in white culture, our shared culture. He was going to do white supremacy. It's not. That's not a real thing, okay? It's just marketing for dumb fucks. Don't be a dumb fuck. Stop being a dumb fuck. In some ways, none of what Trump is doing is all that surprising, even if it's unorthodox. It's basically in the direction of nobody cares. You should be deported back to Turkey. Anyway, what's interesting here is that Trump is actually disrupting the liberal world order by leaning into how things have operated even under the liberal world order. He's just doing away with the aesthetics. Okay, this is what you don't understand. He's doing away with the aesthetics. No more feeling of superiority for you, Europe. Know that you are vassalized. That's what he's doing. In a weird way, as someone who is very critical of the New World Order, post the global design post World War II, as someone who firmly and genuinely, legitimately believes that countries should have developed sovereignty, countries should have moved in the direction of socialism in their own versions, in their own ways, that would have been infinitely more beneficial for the working class in these European countries, as opposed to the American-backed design of the entire world. As someone who recognized that as yet another vehicle of extraction of natural resources and labor power from the periphery, from the global South nations, third world nations, this is what America has always done. This is what Europe has always played a role in. It's just that in the past, the NATO Atlanticists, the liberals, would at least make it seem as though Europe had some kind of sovereignty. He's just giving the game away. He's saying, no, you don't actually have sovereignty. I can do whatever the fuck I want. What is this? Me, you can beat. So you get timmed out for telling the truth around here. I grew up in Austic classes, and as I get older, it went away. You would know that if you know who people were. Timeout police. Hope you feel real good about yourself. Trump, you're going to hell. This was a great year. Everyone lost healthcare, and I'm starving millions of families. I'm just special ed, and I will give you full permission to use the R word. Chatter, calm down. You got timed out for a little bit. But yeah, the more Trump postures like this, the more Trump postures like this, the more people start realizing that this design was not really beneficial. These liberal nation states as well. Yes, I'm going to play Mark Carney's speech in a second. I hope you guys do understand what's going on here. I hope you guys understand what's happening, okay? I mean, people who have been here are already aware of this, right? Because for years and years, I've talked about how Europe has no sovereignty, no real sovereignty. NATO is a protection racket, and that has obviously become a much harder argument to present to Europeans who were terrified of Russian incursions, especially after Vladimir Putin went insane mode and decided to, invade Ukraine. But that's, Trump is doing away with the aesthetics. Trump has been doing away with the aesthetics pretty aggressively. And now this is hopefully a moment of recognition for some of, Europe's best and brightest. And they realize that they don't actually have any sort of sovereignty. They don't even have sovereignty over their own. They don't even have sovereignty over their own politics. Like, if you're living in Europe and you're like, hey, I don't want healthcare to go away. What the fuck is going on? Why is it that year over year it becomes harder and harder? The wait times get longer. I don't have access to medicine or access to healthcare with the same in the same ways. My public transit is worse overall, and the welfare state is like falling apart. Why the fuck is that happening? And then someone someone on the right flank says, oh, it's because of migrants. It's because of Muslims. They're destroying the country. They're forcibly feeding you halal kebabs or whatever. And you go, okay, that must be the reason. And the liberals say, no, nothing is happening. Everything is actually good. And you should shut the fuck up. So then you make the right wing, pivot. There is an alternative out there, one that is unfortunately not often represented. Have you always critiqued the euro? Or is this a recent analysis? No, I've been saying this for years. European liberals have been coming into my chat to crack jokes and say socialism is a real evil. You're wrong. You don't understand. We have social democracy here. And I keep telling them, you have austerity. Those the social democratic safety nets that you actually enjoy are going away. And they're going away for the same exact reasons that they never really fully existed here in the United States of America, or were crippled here in the United States of America, and certainly in Canada as well. And that is at the behest of capital. When austerity measures kick in and the government-funded programs are crippled, and your living standard goes down as a consequence of that, because previously you were leaning into those things without even recognizing that that's just a function of the government. And you develop anxiety, you develop anger over this sort of thing. You become more malleable and more easy to influence against enemies that are coming in, these barbarians or whatever. Not realizing that the reason for that austerity is so that private enterprise can come in and fill the gaps that were created by the austerity to begin with. That's how it's worked. That's how it has always worked. First, you starve these programs. Then people go, why the fuck am I paying taxes anyway? These programs are dog shit. And then private enterprise comes in, lobbies the government, says, hey, guess what? We can fix it. And in the interim, that privatization might actually lead to better quality healthcare in the short term. But slowly but surely, as they take over the entirety of this sector that was previously controlled by the government, they actually give you lower quality of care overall and slower quality of care overall, but they're also making money off of it. Now you have to literally pay higher prices to a private business rather than the prices that you were paying with your taxes. It's a less efficient system. It's a worse system overall. And this is precisely what's been happening all around Europe. It's been happening in America. That's why I always used to tell European liberals, you don't understand. If you don't move in the left, if you don't move fast in the leftward direction, if you don't organize against what's coming, this austerity and the anger that it causes is going to make people even more reactionary. And then fascists are going to come and fascists are going to take over European countries.